Hey y'all, I'm Brittany.
Dang, you started right off the bat. I was gonna sit back all the way. Okay, that's okay.
You're not supposed to be sitting back anyway. Stay ready. So
but I was like, hey y'all, and then you started going, as soon as I'm coming back. Okay.
Ready and hey y'all, my name is Brittany.
And I'm Ariel.
And today we're talking about
imposter syndrome.
So what would you define imposter syndrome as? Like, what does it look like to you?
I would define it as having a combination of low self-efficacy and low self-concept as a graduate student. So what I mean by low self-efficacy is feeling like you don't have the skills or the knowledge or the expertise to be able to complete your tasks, whether that be research or whether that be coursework, just feeling like you are not capable to adequately perform those things. And then what I mean by low self-concept is feeling like you are underqualified to identify as a graduate student. You feel like you're not good enough to be a graduate student and that you won't be successful. So the combination of those practical things and the more identity-based things can all just foster the imposter syndrome.
Yeah, and I'm gonna bring it down a little bit and talk about what it looks like or what it might look like by giving you guys a small example. So I struggle with academic writing. It's something that I experience a lot of imposter syndrome around. And I think that's rooted in a lot of different things. So she talks about self-efficacy and self-concept, right? And so when I think about myself as an academic and as a student, I'm fairly confident in my role as those things. When I think about myself as a writer, an academic writer, particularly using academic language, I have a little more struggle with that. I start to feel nervous, anxious, avoidant about doing it. I never feel like it's good enough, right? I don't want to turn it in for feedback because I feel like it's not quite where it should be as a grad student. You know, all of these things, these are things that my brain is thinking because I have a mindset about what it means or looks like to turn in something that's academic or academic writing. And it's also rooted in, I'm first generation American when it comes to, language and things of that. There are some, historical struggles there. So like now I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm good enough.
Right, and going off of what she said, it can also manifest in your classrooms when you're with your peers. So even if you feel like you have a good handle on doing those individual tasks where you don't have to be around people, it can also appear when you're in class and you have to engage in discussion. And a lot of your peers will come from different backgrounds. They will have different types of expertise. And then all of that can contribute to you not feeling like you have something worthy to contribute in class. So I'll give you an example for me. During my first year, I took a class and it was called Writing, Development, and Instruction. And we learned about how children learn to write and then the developmental stages that learning to write occurs across age. And so a lot of the people who took that classroom were former or current teachers. I can't speak today. They were former or current teachers. I have no prior teaching experience. And so during a lot of the conversations, they would use terminology and lingo that I wasn't familiar with. Like they would say IEP, they would say tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And I didn't know what that was. And so during the beginning of the semester, I would kind of just sit back and listen, like, okay, well, y'all got it. I'm just going to listen. And that made me feel like I didn't have anything meaningful to contribute to the conversation. But once I started asking them, okay, what does this mean? And they explained it to me in layman's term. I was like, oh, I know what this is. And then, so once I took that step to ask for help, it kind of reduced my feelings of not being good enough to participate in class.
And so I'm going to jump right in there and I'm going to talk about a little bit of ways that you can navigate imposter syndrome. And Ariel already started to hit on one, and that's asking for help and building community. So the example that I'm going to talk about and give is, I am a qualitative girly. Ariel, when it comes to quantitative, math, statistics, she has that on lock. So we took a class together. Yes, she has it. So we took a class together. It was a requirement in our PhD program that you have to take certain methodology classes. So no matter what your preference is, you're going to take all of the methods courses. So we were in our methods course, a statistics course, and I was like, I don't know what's going on in this course. I don't know what they're asking us to do. I don't know what they're saying. So we're coding, right? We're in the course. She's talking in numbers. I already don't know what's going on. And then talking in numbers. And then we have this coding thing. So that's in numbers and squiggly lines, okay? Right? And so you're a qualitative person. You understand what I'm saying? Why the math isn't math then, right? So you have to put in the squiggly lines and the numbers and the codes to get it to do something for you on the screen over here. And she's only talking in numbers, and I don't know what's going on. I immediately start to feel like, okay, I'm drowning and I don't belong. Like, this isn't my place. These aren't my people, and I'm not going to be successful. I don't feel like I can be successful. So one thing that I want to say, my personality type, however, is I have no problem saying I don't know, and I have no problem asking for help. Like, I have no problem being like, yeah, I don't know what's going on, like, you know. And then that gave Ariel the opportunity to be like, girl, this is what this means. Like, I got you, and navigate through that. So that was helpful to have a partner, a community member, help kind of guide you through it and like teach and fill gaps. But also another thing that happened when I was sharing, like, I don't know what's going on, I'm struggling, other people who were not vocal about knowing what's going on and struggling started to be like, me too. So when you are struggling or you're having a question, you're feeling these experiences of imposter syndrome, the more transparent you are with people, the more likely you are to find that there are people in alignment with what you're feeling and that can relate, and that you're not alone. And once you start to build that community and realize that you're not the only one, you're not the only one thinking that, you know, you don't belong or you don't understand, you don't know, or there's a question mark somewhere throughout it, you start to also be able to navigate, you know, this imposter syndrome and going through it as well.
And so just piggybacking off what she said, so yes, building community, talking to people, walking through this with someone else, but also taking practical steps to build the skills that you lack confidence in. So you can look for resources or workshops, anything that you can to help you work on those skills. Like for academic writing, if that's something that you don't feel is a strong suit, leverage your writing center to have them look over your papers and give you constructive feedback and tips to help you be a stronger writer. You can also take courses that are geared towards skills that you don't feel the most confident in, and that way you have an instructor and you have classmates where you guys can work together to help you build those skills. Oh yes, and back to the writing part. If there's like a manuscript, a type of manuscript that you're writing, whether they be like a systematic lit review, or if you're just writing an empirical article, or if you're writing a grant proposal, don't be reluctant to ask people for examples. If you know someone who's done it already and who's done it successfully, reach out and say, hey, can I take a look at whatever it may be, to look at how you structured this, to look at how you worded this part of it. So don't just say, hey, can you send me this? But let them know why you're asking for
work
it.
and plagiarizing.
Don't do that. Let's talk about plagiarism. Let's not get into that. We're going to have a story time.
For another day.
A story time about plagiarism.
So piggyback. We're going to stop saying piggyback. Well, I'm not going to say piggybacking because we done said that 4 times in this video. But to add on to that, you see what I did there. I really want us to really be rooted in the fact that we are graduate students, right? We're students. We're still learning. We're not experts. And I think once you start to release the idea that you have to be perfect or you're the expert or like something like that, and you realize this is still a process of learning and we're students on a journey, then that also helps us understand that like we can't be imposters.
Right.
Because we're not even pretending to be something we're not. We're actually seeking learning, and that's what we're doing.
You wrote those application materials to get into the program. You talked about the things that you're good at and what you've learned, what you can bring to the table. So take a look back at this. Read this. That's something that I do actually.
You look at yours?
When I'm feeling down, I'll look at something that somebody has written to me that was kind, whether that be like some type of feedback or like an email that somebody sent me. Actually, who was that? Somebody was telling me that they have a folder in their email and it's like happy notes or something like that. So like if somebody writes you like a recommendation letter, you just drop it in there and you look back at the nice things they said about you.
No, yeah. So I think that's actually really good. I think similarly, I don't necessarily look back at positive things people said about me, but I look back at my why. So my personal statement of like why.
Take us back to the second episode of this series.
Yes. Go back and watch our other videos. But when you think about why you're doing the work you're doing, why you want to get a PhD, why you want to research the things you're doing, that really, really gets me going. Okay, that motivates me and that gives me that like confidence boost and kind of like the grittiness that I need to remember to keep going. So I think it's really, really important to stay in tune with your why, and then stay in tune, like I guess like Ariel was saying, with other affirmations that you've gotten externally that kind of feeds this idea of like you belong here. So I think that's all we have for this video.
Yes.
So
stay tuned. we have more videos coming for
Yes.
you all. We're getting back into the gist of filming, and so we're so excited to bring y'all along for the rest of our PhD journey and give you some tips and some nuggets. So, tune in for our next video, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.